Andruw Jones always showed a penchant for playing above his age. In 1996, when he was 19, he became the youngest player ever to hit a home run in a World Series game. The circumstances were extraordinary. His Braves were looking to repeat as champions against the Yankees. It was his first at-bat in Game 1. He was facing Andy Pettitte, who one day would be renowned for his postseason heroics. It was what would have been the 65th birthday of Mickey Mantle, who previously set the record as a 20-year-old Yankee in the 1952 World Series. But none of that fazed Jones. It didn't faze him his next time up, either, when he homered off Brian Boehringer to become the second player in MLB history to round the bases in each of his first 2 World Series at-bats. Perhaps the teenage Jones was so unaffected by Yankee Stadium's bright lights that night because he'd always been ahead of the age curve. By the time he was a 13-year-old growing up in Willemstad, Curaçao, he was playing against other adults on his father's team. Legend has it during this time he once launched a ball over 400 feet onto the tennis court of a nearby hotel. In his next at-bat, he hit the hotel. He'd soon play for Curaçao's national team in the Latin American Games. Jones was one of the best players ever through his age 30 season. The Braves signed him in 1993, when Jones was 16 years old. He quickly showed he was no match for the lower levels of the minors, tearing up each league on his way up the ladder. He was named Baseball America's 95 Minor League Player of the Year at an age when most mere mortals are just graduating high school, and was anointed BA's top prospect heading into the 96 season. Before the year was out, he'd be a household name for his prodigious exploits. Jones's batting stance quickly became a favorite to imitate for youngsters dreaming of their own big league future. His left arm nearly hugging his chin, bat cocked up high. That coiled-up posture packed a lot of power. Jones once hit a broken bat home run to straightaway center at Turner Field. As for what he could do in the field, well, it was just foolish to try to imitate that. The kid from Curaçao could glide through the outfield grass like a hovercraft, climb Tal's Hill for an over-the-shoulder catch and stick his cleats to the outfield wall like a spider to capture a ball in his glove's web. Upon seeing Jones's signature Spider-Man catch, Braves broadcaster Pete Van Wieren said, "I don't know what you're supposed to say about this kind of play, because you've never seen it before." Jones's Hall of Fame case rests on his doing what no one else could do when he was at his best. He holds the record for most defensive wins above replacement, 24.4, among outfielders, more than 6 wins above Willie Mays, and 7 more than active leader Kevin Kiermaier, and 22nd all-time. He ranks second in MLB history in total runs saved, 230, behind only 15-time Gold Glove-winning third baseman Brooks Robinson. Jones's defense was so superb that in his first full season as a starter in 1998, WAR deemed him to be nearly a full win more valuable than Sammy Sosa, who was named the NL MVP that year during his legendary home run race with Mark McGwire. The only outfielders who can top Jones's 10 Gold Gloves are Roberto Clemente 12, Willie Mays 11, and Ken Griffey Jr. 11. Don't trust the metrics or Gold Glove voters. Maybe you'll listen to Mays himself, who once said he thought Jones was the best center fielder he'd ever seen. Jones was also no slouch on offense, ending his career with 434 home runs, tied with Juan Gonzalez for 48th all-time, 152 stolen bases, 1,933 hits and 3,690 total bases. His finest campaign at the plate came in 2005, after Mays advised him to widen his batting stance. The result was an MLB best 51 home runs and a runner-up finish in a close race with Albert Pujols for the 2005 NL MVP award. That combination of prowess in the field and at the plate made Jones one of the best players alive during his peak. Between 1998 and 2007, he ranked third with 57.6 WAR, behind only Alex Rodriguez 80.0, and Barry Bonds 71.0, and just ahead of 3 players tied with 54.9. Chipper Jones, Andruw Jones's longtime teammate and first-ballot Hall of Famer. Rockies first baseman Todd Helton, who's also on this year's ballot, and Pujols. That means for a 10-year span, Jones was the most valuable player among those never connected to performance-enhancing drugs. That's cherry-picking his best decade, of course, but Sandy Koufax and Kirby Puckett were inducted for their dominance over a decade, or less, and Jones presents a similar argument. Virtually all of Jones's accolades, 5-time All-Star, 2005 Silver Slugger, the aforementioned Gold Gloves, 10 division titles were attained through his age 30 season, which he ended with 368 home runs, 138 stolen bases, 1,683 hits and 3,185 total bases for his career. Only 6 players have reached the benchmarks of 350 HRs, 100 SBs and 1,500 hits through their age 30 season. Arad, Griffey Jr., Frank Robinson, Henry Aaron, Mantle and Jones. Those are 4 Inner Circle Hall of Famers, one who would have been if not for his use of PEDs, and then Jones. There are 19 Hall of Fame center fielders. Jones ranks 11th at his position in JAWS, a popular metric developed by Fangraphs writer Jay Jaffe, formerly of Sports Illustrated, to measure Hall of Fame worthiness by comparing candidates to those already enshrined in Cooperstown. Jones is worth more JAWS than Hoff CFs such as Puckett, Richie Ashburn and Andre Dawson. The only players above him who aren't enshrined are Mike Trout, who surely will be one day, Carlos Beltran ditto, unless the sign-stealing scandal is held against him, and Kenny Lofton, who was robbed as a one-and-done candidate in 2013 and deserves to be inducted one day by the Veterans Committee. From a legacy perspective, Jones was the most important defender for the 1990s Braves dynasty that featured 3 Hall of Fame pitchers, Greg Maddux, Tom Glavine and John Smoltz. That trio undoubtedly benefited from their ballhawk's shallow positioning, uncanny roots and formidable speed. He should also earn some credit for putting his home country on the map as a hotbed for baseball talent. While he wasn't the first Curaçao native to crack the majors, that honor goes to Hensley Mullins. He's hailed there as a national hero who paved the way for stars such as Kenley Jansen, Ozzie Albies and Andrelton Simmons. All those factors have not yet coalesced to an airtight case for Jones, who received the support of just 33.9% Hoff voters last year, his 4th on the ballot. That's a substantial jump from the 19.4% share he had the year prior, which was itself a massive gain after never topping 8% in his first 2 years under consideration. But there's obviously still a ways to go before he reaches the 75% threshold needed for induction.